Hello, I am Eloise and this is my channel, and for today's video I've decided to go through all of my favourite brushes. I've got face brushes, I've got a lot of eye brushes. I'm just going to sort of go through what I like to use them for, how I like to clean them as well. I do put my hands up. Most of them are not clean at the moment, but it is clean brush day today, so they will be done next time, I promise. But yeah, so I'm going to start off with all of my different foundation brushes. Now, I use many different foundation tools for different foundations and different finishes and different coverages. So if I want a full coverage, I will either use a flat foundation brush like this. Obviously you can stripe it on. I don't tend to blend out my makeup with this just because I find that it leaves brush strokes on my face, so I don't tend to use this to blend, but I do like to pack my foundation on with a flat foundation brush. However, I do tend to stick more towards my optical blurring brush, which is nice and dense and is going to pack on the product basically. So to build up the coverage, I will stipple it on. To sheer it out, I will sort of swirl the brush around my face. And then I'll usually go in with my beauty sponge. This one's from Real Techniques. It is dirty at the moment. Like I said, I'm going to clean my brushes today and my sponges, so don't fear. That's what I'll probably do for full coverage. And then if I want a sheerer coverage, I'll go in with Large Powder Brush by Urban Decay. I love this one because it's really flimsy, so it literally just shears out the foundation all over the face. It's a really quick and nice tool to use if you're doing, say, no makeup. I use this today to put on my One and Done by Urban Decay, so it gives a really nice sheer finish, and it also sort of brings back the radiance to the skin as well. So I really like to use a large powder brush or anything with a little bit more flimsiness to it. Back to the beauty sponge. So this one's by Real Techniques, like I said, and I like to use this for a multitude of things. So I will bounce away my foundation. This helps to pick up any unwanted foundation that's on the skin, so it's not going to slip and slide everywhere. It nicely bounces into the skin and is going to last a lot longer as well because you haven't got too much foundation on your face. So if I'm going for fuller coverage, I will stripe on the foundation with that and bounce it out with that, so there's not too much foundation on the skin. I also like this for my concealer, so I'll do this side for foundation, this side for concealer, and at the bottom for my liquid highlighter. That's just so it doesn't all get mixed together, because obviously my concealer is going to be a lighter colour than my foundation, and then this, obviously, the liquid highlighter is going to be very shimmery, so I don't want that all over my face. So that's why I like to keep it quite separate. I don't tend to put powder on with this like some people do. Some people like to bake. I don't like that because I feel like it's very cakey underneath my eyes. I have to be very careful for underneath my eyes because I have quite a lot of lines under there. I'm only 21. I don't know why the world has punished me with very wrinkly under eyes, but it's the way it is. So yeah, where was I going with that? So yeah, obviously I like to dampen it first. If I remember, I will do it in the sink. If not, I'll just spray like one of my prep sprays on the sponge, let it soak in so it's a little bit damp, and that is how you're going to get a really nice full coverage foundation basically. My throat hurts already and I've hardly been speaking that long. Now to cream contour / bronze. So you know me, I tend to go for a cream bronze. I've got cream bronze on today. It's nice and warm. I don't tend to go for the cooler tones for a contour, just personal preference. So I like to use my highlighting diffusing brush by Urban Decay. It's a nice sort of like stippling brush. I don't really know why I like this one for cream bronzer, but it's nice and small, so it keeps the product there rather than going in with something bigger like that. That's probably going to disperse the product a lot more. Obviously you can see the size difference. Because it's quite small, it misses out the step of having to carve this out like some people do with their powder. Because obviously I've kept it where I've wanted it, I've not needed to sharpen it up at all, if that makes any sense. Okay, now on to powder products. Let's go for a powder brush first. So I really like this dense, it's a Real Techniques brush. I've had it for years and I found it the other day because I was feeling like a brush like that wasn't really powdering enough underneath my eyes. I like it to be quite concentrated, but I really don't like going in with a powder with my sponge, typically because I don't use a loose powder, I use a pressed powder. It's a lot less messy, it doesn't get everywhere, so that's why I like a pressed powder. So I found this one in one of my, oh, I've got another one as well actually. I just leave brushes around everywhere. Oh, here we go. This is called the sculpting brush. I don't know why this one's shiny. Probably got it off eBay when I was about 16. But anyway, that's the real one. So this is a sculpting brush. So it's nice and dense. Obviously you can see that's really, really nice and dense. And it really packs on the powder underneath your eyes, and you can really get into those creases as well. It sort of acts like a beauty sponge with powder on it, but if I put a damp sponge in my powder, one, it creates film on top of my powder, which obviously I don't like, because then it just basically ruins the product. And also, I don't know, I feel like it sticks in some areas and then I look like I've got like crusty skin, which obviously I'm not a fan of. So anyway, I really like to pack on product, and it's sort of the same effect as baking because it packs on product and then you can wipe it away with a big fluffy brush. I do the same with around my mouth as well, so I'll blow out my cheeks, let it sit for a second and then dust away the excess. And you can do that for down the sides of your nose, in your forehead as well. So that's a really great brush for powder. So this is, I believe it's a powder brush, but I really like to use it for my highlighter. So I do my highlighter first rather than bronzer, just because I feel like if you do the bronzer afterwards, it really nicely blends into the highlighter. So it's one, not two separate stripes, if you see what I mean. So I really like a big brush for my highlighter. You can see the difference. Obviously this one's massive, but I feel like it diffuses the product nicely, so it's not too concentrated in one stripy motion. And then I'll go into my forehead as well. It's nice and big to hit the forehead. You can even dust it down the nose, on the chin. It's just a really nice big diffusing brush for highlighter. And then to get more of a concentrated glow, I like to go in with my Zoeva 134 Luxe Powder Fusion brush. So that just hits the highest points of the cheekbone, highest points of the forehead, the tip of the nose, down there a little bit, So this is just sort of my concentrated highlighting brush. Next is another new addition. So it's a Zoeva 127 Luxe Sheer Cheek Brush. So it's a angled brush like I would usually use, but it's a lot flimsier than what I used to use. Yeah, it's going to give a really nice diffused contour or bronze, whatever you prefer. And it's quite flat as well, as you can see. So it's going to really nicely get into the contours of the cheeks. If they've got long hairs, it's going to diffuse better than if you were to use something like that that's very dense and stubby. This is not going to blend out your contour. It's going to make it look very muddy and patchy. So it's better to go for a long hair brush for if you want a nice feathered, diffused looking contour. And also it's small enough to get down the sides of the nose. Obviously I don't do a really detailed nose contour, I just like to take the bronze down the sides of the nose. I haven't got like a problematic nose, so I don't need to contour it, I just like to add warmth there. So that's what I like that brush for. Okay, so I've covered all of the face brushes and now it's time for eye brushes, my favourite bit. So this is the brush that I love for carving out my eyebrows. But yeah, so it's nice and tiny. Some people like a really big brush to carve their brows out. It's completely personal preference, but I really like a little teeny weeny one like this. So it's nice and small, it's domed, and it's really, really flat when it's got product in it. You can really manipulate the shape of it when it's got concealer in it. Now this is probably not as accessible, but it's still one of my favourite brushes. It's actually the Naked palette brush. So you've got the big fat side on that side, and then this side is nice and flat. It's great for packing on shimmer, especially if I've cut the crease. I like to go in with this to pack on shimmer because I can get really close to the edge of the cut crease. So it's perfect for that. So this is the fatter, fluffier side. This is perfect for packing on eyeshadow primer. I really like to pack it on and tap it out, and I feel like if you pat it, then it sets the primer. These are an essential for my kit because I literally use them for everything. on my clients, this end is perfect for getting foundation in the nooks and crannies, so in the inner corner, around the nose, under the chin, in between the eyebrows as well. It's a perfect tool. I do really like the fat end for buffing out eyeshadow underneath my eye and also packing on like a matte colour on my lid, and it's perfect for pigments as well, and like glittery eyeshadows, so like the Moon Dust eyeshadows by Urban Decay. Literally swirl your brush in there, all nighter setting spray on the end and pack it on, and it's literally just going to give you the best sparkle on your eyes. So that's what I use this for. If you've got one of these brushes, you're very, very lucky, because it is literally the best multi-tool you'll ever have in your life. So good. These are from the Naked palettes by Urban Decay, so they actually come in number 2 and number 3. So yeah, if you've got a Naked 2 or a Naked 3 palette, then you'll have this brush. Now on to blending brushes. Now, a blending brush is basically a brush with long bristles that is going to really help to disperse and diffuse your matte transition shades in the crease. So these are all of my long haired bristle brushes, and these all help to blend out my matte shades in the crease. Now, the one thing I will mumble and grumble about is the fact that Zoeva brushes are a pain in the arse because they stain like crazy. This one and this one is actually brand new. I've only used them once. And you can see they're already stained pink. So yeah, that's really, really annoying. But yeah, so a lot of people like to go in with their transition colour, which is the lightest colour first, that all the other colours blend into. Then they'll go in with their deeper colour and then their deepest colour. But we all know that I like to go in with my deep colour, then my transition to blend the deep colour out, and then my deepest colour at the end. So in that order, I like to pack on my deep colour, so the second colour that people usually use, with my Zoeva 227. It is the perfect blending brush because it's slightly flatter as well. I don't know if you can see that, but that's perfect because it fits and tucks itself nicely into the crease. So I like to pack on my middle colour first with this brush, and you can start to diffuse the edges as well with this one because it is obviously a blending brush. I'll pack on my middle colour with my 227, and then I will either blend out the edges with one of these two brushes. So I really, really like the 224, which is this nice thin tiny little brush, but it's quite round on the end, so it's perfect for blending out the edges of the first colour that I put down with my 227. But it's also great for deepening up the crease because it's very, very skinny. But I also really like the 221. This one's a little bit like the 227, but it's much, much rounder. It's great for blowing out a smoky eye, so really getting that blown out effect. Am I making any sense? I really hope I am. All three of these brushes as well, I really like for the lower lash line. I really like a buffed out, really low lower lash line. So these brushes are probably a bit scary for some people because they're quite fat and quite fluffy, but I like to bring it quite low. So these brushes are perfect for my lower lash line. And also it's a great brush for if I can't be bothered to do much eyeshadow, I'll literally put a wash of matte colour over the lid. So I literally buff it onto the lid, start to bring it into the crease, wing it out a little bit, and then my eyeshadow's done. So yeah, those are my 3 blending brushes that I really, really love to use. Now, this guy needs his own appraisal. So this is the 221. Can you see the difference? Obviously, this one is a lot rounder on the end, whereas this one comes to a point. 231 Luxe Petite Crease Brush is perfect for that third colour. So transition, deepest colour. This is perfect for the deepest colour because it fits beautifully into the crease, and where it's tapered, the point picks up the product, places the product, and the feathering edges does all the blending for you. So it is literally the best brush for getting really deep smoky eyes or a deep crease for a cut crease. So yeah, it's perfect because it just really tucks into the crease beautifully, and also great for underneath the eyes for adding depth to the lower lash line. This is another great shimmer brush. It is a 234 Luxe Smoky Shader. So it's great for packing on either a shimmer or a matte. I like it for both. It's great for smudging out pencil as well. Now on to my cut crease tool. So this is a 226 smudger brush. Really nice, fat and dense, but it's rounded at the top. So you literally just have to pop some concealer in the brush and stamp it on, and it does the cut crease for you. It's a great brush. It doesn't pick too much product up either, which is great for cut crease because we don't want too much concealer by the crease, because that's when it will transfer. We're almost at the last brushes, guys. So now I'm on to the lower lash line. So this is going to help to buff anything out under the lash line. It's nice and dense, it's domed, it's not too flimsy, so it's just going to really pack on the product underneath the lash line and also help to blend out as well. And this one is a Morphe E18 brush. You can get these from anywhere, but this is the one that I happen to pick up. And last but not least, the 238 by Zoe Luxe Precise Shader Brush. This one's teeny weeny weeny, and this one is great for detail work. So I really like it for highlighting the inner corner, highlighting the brow bone, smudging out any liner on top, smudging out liner underneath. It's just a great little tool for most things, basically. That is it for the brushes. Now on to cleaning. So for my own brushes, I like to clean my face brushes once a week or once a fortnight, depending on how busy my schedule is. And I wash them with baby shampoo. You can get it from anywhere. Squirt some baby shampoo into my hand, and then I will swirl it in, and then make sure that the water is lukewarm / warm, because you don't want to be burning yourself, which I've done plenty of times. But then I'll swirl the brush in my hand, let the running water run, and then I'll swirl it in the running water, making sure that the brush is facing downwards, not upwards. If you get water in the brush, then the hairs are going to start to shed because you've broken down the glue in the barrel. Also, when you're cleaning your brushes with baby shampoo, make sure that you hang the brushes over the edge of a counter or something like that. If my hand was a counter, that's how it would be lying, like that, so that your brushes don't get damp or they don't spay on the surface that you've put them on. It's really important to keep your brushes nice and clean and free from dish shaping. Is dish shaping a word? Unshaping? Going out of shape, basically. So yeah, that's how I like to clean my face brushes. I do the same with my eye brushes as well, but if I want to spot clean them, say if I need to quickly change colour, then I will literally have some Surgical Spirit in a little spray bottle like that, get some tissue, spray the Surgical Spirit on the tissue, and just really lightly and delicately, because you don't want the bristles to spay or go out of place. In between clients, however, you absolutely have to clean them in between every single client, and you can use Surgical Spirit for that. I like to clean my sponge a slightly different way. I use a bar of soap. I will obviously get the bar of soap wet, and I will just rub wherever there's any foundation in the sponge. I'll rub that on the soap, and then I will rinse out under the tap, and then I'll do the same until all of the product is out of my sponge. I don't typically use sponges on my clients just because they are a pain in the arse to clean, and also to keep sanitary, so I tend to stick with brushes on my clients. Anyway, so I hope that I have covered all bases with face brushes, eye brushes, how to clean your brushes, how to spot clean your brushes, how to clean your sponge. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give this video a huge thumbs up, subscribe and all the jazz. I'm Eloise, this is my channel, and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.